Is that thunder? Y'all hear that? Hey y'all, welcome and welcome back to Soulful Key. If this is your first time here, don't worry, I consider you a VIP. But if you're an OG and you know me, thank you for supporting Key. We are about to get into some things. This is probably the last video that I would like to be recording and sharing, but my life is not my own, and I really have been feeling so led and really pushed to tell my story and some of the things that I've gone through. So, you know, I don't want to be doing this, okay? I really feel like there is purpose behind the pain that I went through. And I feel as though someone can definitely get healed through me just telling my story. And how selfish would it be for me to not share what I've gone through and how God brought me out of that? So you can already tell by the title that we're going to be getting deep. I don't have a script. I'm just kind of allowing God to lead me. Let's just go ahead and jump straight into it. This whole series is going to be called From Carnal to Christ, Diary of a Sinner. Okay, honey, because your girl, one of the things that I feel like a lot of us have in common that we just simply do not share because of whatever reason is a lot of us have been prematurely exposed to sexual sin, porn, all of that stuff. And for me, I feel like once that door opened for me, everything else kind of started just pouring out. And my relationships over the years have been very questionable, not so much so because of the people, but because of my broken consciousness and just my way of thinking. God has been just urging me to tell my story and where I've come from and how he swooped in and saved the day, because that man right there, y'all. Let me tell you about a man named Jesus, honey. Some of you may know I told a story about how God revealed himself to me, and it was through a roach. And if you have not heard that story, I'm gonna post it somewhere either up here or up here, and you guys can click on it and watch that and then come back to this video. So I told you guys in that story that I was prematurely exposed to pornography at a very young age. And I did not know that there was anything wrong with that until I started walking with Christ and exploring my relationship with God. And He began to reveal things that I completely forgot about. It's so crazy how trauma can be so heavy on us that we push it so far out of our minds that we literally forget about what happens to us sometimes. So I thought nothing of it. I didn't think I didn't tell anyone. I didn't think that anything was wrong with it. Honestly, felt like this is what was supposed to happen. This is how things are normally supposed to go. I believe I was around the age of 8, 9, 10, 10 at the most, when I began spending a lot of time with a cousin who was actually the granddaughter of the pastor of my church that I grew up in. Me and her were literally so close. We were so close. And one of the things that was very challenging, she was considered very obese, and it was very hard for her to do normal daily activities. But when I say, y'all, I love this girl, she had the sweetest, most purest heart. Like, she was just such a sweetheart, and I just loved her energy. I loved being around her, and I always wanted to spend time with her. I would spend the summer, I would usually go over there for maybe days or sometimes at most a week at a time during the summer. She really couldn't get around as much, and it was hard to spend time with her outside of the house. So we spent a lot of time in the house together. And one of the things that I just remember about us doing was playing The Sims. And she taught me how to play The Sims. It was a good time. I didn't know that our relationship would end so soon, because she did end up passing away my ninth grade year of high school. One of the most traumatic things that I've ever gone through, one of the most traumatic losses that I've ever experienced. I have so many questions. I will never be able to get those answers from her. I say I remember this day to the T. We were just kind of doing what we always do. I was at her computer and I was playing The Sims, and she was sitting on her bed and she was watching something on the television. And I feel like it was something like Jerry Springer, Maury, or something like that. Like, it was the norm. The show went off and she asked me if I wanted to watch something else. And I didn't really care because I wasn't watching the TV in the first place. I was on the computer playing The Sims. It was more so her watching the TV. She puts in a VHS because it just started playing. Like it was no intro or anything. It just started playing. And so it was literally people having sex and moaning and all this stuff. As someone as young as me at the time, I like my eyes, y'all, were glued to the television screen because I'd never seen anything like that before. And I just could not help but to watch. Like there was literally nothing else for me to do but to just sit there and watch. So I did. And I remember she had this look on her face. She was smiling, but she wasn't smiling. She had that look on her face. And I was like, I have to go to the bathroom. And she was like, okay. So I went to the bathroom, realized that there is more moisture down there than what I was used to. Don't think anything of it. I go back in the room and the video is still playing. At this point, now I'm sitting directly next to her on the bed and we're just watching. Never seen anything like this before. So my eyes are glued. I want to see it all, you know? I remember saying, I don't know why I have to keep using the bathroom. And she looks at me and she's like, that's not pee. And I'm like, well, what is it? What's happening to me? And she just like that same look, like she just had that same look. I can just see the look on her face. And I don't think I asked any more questions. I remember getting back on the computer and playing The Sims, and it was still playing in the background. Eventually, she ended up turning it off. I feel like my innocence was gone after that day. There was an extreme urge within me. I could not satisfy that urge. I did not know what that urge was, but I know that whatever I was feeling when I was watching that video, it felt good and I wanted to experience more of it. Y'all, the story is probably going to be a little spotty. I'm really trying to remember as much as I can. This is so uncomfortable for me to talk about, so please bear with me. After that, I remember there's a doctor's office near my house, and I remember she was actually going to that doctor's office. She spent the night with me and my mom. She was sleeping on the floor. It was like, I don't want to break your bed. I know that I'm heavy. I remember being in the bed and we were talking, you know, like this is my older cousin. So we were always talking about just random stuff. I remember her asking me if I wanted to touch her. No, if I said yes or if I said no. But I remember I got on the ground. Don't remember how we got there. I really don't remember much of the conversation that was had between us. And I remember her legs being open and she told me to give her oral sex. And so I did because I felt like I didn't know any better and I really trusted her. After that, it was extremely weird between us. I felt like it was something wrong, but to somebody that I trust and they're doing this to me, then it must be right. In turn, I started introducing my friends to porn. I'm now sharing what has been shared with me with other people because I don't think that there's anything wrong with it. Looking back on it now, I definitely know that there was a lot of trauma in her family. I believe that she was sexually abused as a child. I definitely know that there were more people in her family that was sexually abused as children. And I really just feel like it was a generational thing. Like somebody showed her, somebody taught her, and she probably thought it was okay. I started hunching my stuffed animals just to feel this feeling. I started masturbating and I even started watching porn on my own. Once I got a computer, it became an addiction. Never told anyone. I did not tell my mother until maybe a year ago. Going through that experience, I feel like opened up the door to so much. Very early age, I was very hypersexual. Everything in my mind always led back to some sort of sexual encounter, photo, video. I have lived a life of sexual promiscuity, and that was one of the hardest things that I had to give up. I did not know that because that door was open so soon, nobody was able to explain to me anything. It caused a lot of damage in other areas of my life. It feels so good to get it out for one. As someone who went through years of sexual promiscuity, who has contracted a sexually transmitted disease, someone who has been pregnant and gone through miscarriage and pregnant again, who has gone through emotional and mental and spiritual, all types of abuse. Going back to the root of things, going back to the root and allowing God into those spaces of my heart, and for him to just tell me that wasn't right. Like nobody ever told me that that was not right. I thought watching porn 3 times a day and masturbating was okay. That's the norm. That's what everybody's doing. And I didn't realize how detrimental it was to every single other area of my life. God came in and just showed me that he is a true healer. We're gonna work this out. We're gonna I'm sorry. No one ever said I'm sorry. I'll say I'm sorry. I'm sorry you had to go through that, because you have so many questions, y'all. I was questioning everything. My sexuality, questioning, does God love me? Why would you allow something to happen like this? The people that raised me, just questioning so much. Always going up to the altar and never telling anyone that that's truly what I needed prayer for. I pushed it out of my mind. I didn't want to think about it, so I didn't. And I started walking with Christ, and God showed me that it's not your fault. I'm sorry. I'm going to help you through forgiveness. Like, this is all the things that God was just like, I'm just like, why am I thinking about this? Why are you bringing this back to me? And it was because God has to heal it. I feel like God truly deals with the root of the problem. First, he cares about what we're doing to cope with the problem, but he deals with the root. He gets down deep. I was telling me, you're going to have to give me this. You're going to have to trust me with this. Actually bring some type of clarity to everything that I've experienced in my adulthood, to be able to check in with my children and to make sure that I'm having very valuable conversations. It was always not to have sex before marriage, but I didn't really know why, what sexual immorality actually does to you, for you, all of that. Well, I'm grateful, truly grateful, that God is allowing me to use this story to share and hopefully bring other people closer to him, because he has come in, and y'all, literally this video is already kind of long, so I don't want it to be too much longer, but I'm literally about to walk you guys through my life through carnality and me coming to Christ, and how God came in and swept me off of my feet like the knight in shining armor that he is. Okay, there's so much more to get into. I miss my cousin so much. I want her to know that I don't blame her. I also want to apologize to anybody that I may have traumatized by sharing what was shared to me. I truly, from the bottom of my heart, sincerely apologize, because I legit did not know what I was doing and what I was putting on somebody else. Okay, y'all, I made it through without crying. I thought I was gonna cry. I'm just gonna let God do what he do, cashing in all my chips on him. We're gonna walk through it. We're gonna heal through it, from carnal to Christ. Diaries of a Sinner. I'm out. Love y'all. Peace.